Alright folks, welcome back to the Split Inner Circle Teaching 2024 May month session 1. Today, in this topic, today's topic will be sessions. Alright, so what are sessions? Sessions or timings, whatever you can call those things, it's fine. So we're going to be discussing about sessions, right? The trading sessions especially. So I hope you get a clear mind and don't actually put in a lot of work in your mind about what the sessions are, what the timings are. It's pretty easy to memorize them. So you just need to know one simple fact. You shouldn't be taking any trades outside your sessions, okay? This is like the first rule. Trade only inside your session timings. I'm sorry. Trade only inside the sessions. So what are the sessions, Krishna? So let's go. The first session starts at, so please set your time zone into UTC -4 or the New York local time. Whatever time is it for you? Maybe after the what do you call the halving, you can get it changed for like an hour before and after. Alright, so please set your time zones to UTC -4 and let's start with the sessions. The first session is, what is the first session? What is the start of the day? 12 o'clock, right? So what's the next session? You get it from 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. NY, alright? 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. What is this session? It is the London rate, alright? The London rate. Remember, 2 to 5, you need to mark out the highs and lows. Right? I'll give you an example, don't worry about that. So let's just go through this. 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock is London, right? Next session is, what is the next session? Next is the AM session. When does the AM session start? So 2 to 5 is London rate, 8:30 to 12 is AM session. What is the next session, Krishna? So the next session is from 12 noon all the way to 1:30 p.m. right? What is that? The lunch rally. This is where ICT tells us that the algorithm starts working. What is the next session? So there are entirely 4 sessions, so chill out. 1:30 p.m. all the way to 4 p.m. New York local time. What is this session? It is the PM session. All right. So these 4 timings are at most priority. All right. You take the trades only during these 4 timings. It's so simple. All right. So don't overcomplicate the shit and take these 4 timings into your consideration and only into consideration. I'm telling you guys so many times. All right. These 4 timings are the utmost priority. You don't need anything else. So for me, for example, I stay in India. So that's the reason I only trade London and AM session. All right. So London starts around like 12 o'clock in India, and the AM session starts like at 6 p.m. in India. All right. So there it works out for my timing. So if you're from New York, if you're from London, you can trade only the AM session or only the lunch rally or only the PM session, whatever it is. You get setups in all the 4 timings. That's the beauty of this. Now what I'm going to do is I'll show you a couple, how you mark those sessions, all right, the highs and lows. So for example, let's just go to this area, right? So this one, let's just take this. This is a good turtle soup setup, right? So in this week, I think we only got like 1 and 2. So yeah, this week we got like 2 trades. Both of them were winners, so it's good. Anyway, so what is the first session, I tell you, all right? The first session is in the previous day, right? I forgot to mention this box right here is Asian session. You don't need to consider it that often, but still, if it's there, it's pretty good. You can at least know that this small area is somewhat an internal liquidity. It's not a major liquidity zones. Only these four timings are really important. So you can still mark out the Asian lows and Asian highs, so it's fine. So let's start marking out the things from the previous day. You have to consider, because in this particular day, so this is basically London for me. This entire bit is London. So what do? Go to the previous day and start from when? 2 o'clock, which is the London, right? So from all the way to 2 o'clock, from all the way from 2 to all the way till 5, what's the highest high and the lowest low? This is the high and this is the low. So the high has been swept already. So we mark out the low, right? So this is the low. This is what? The London rate sell side liquidity. Right? It's pretty simple. London rate sell side liquidity. And let's go to the next one. So when is the next zone? It is the AM session, right? So when is the AM session start? From all the way to 8:30 to all the way till, what is this? 12 o'clock. So yeah, this is the lowest low between 8:30 and 12 o'clock, right? So this is the lowest low and that is the highest high between this range. All right. So this is AM session high. All right. Buy side liquidity. Okay. And this is AM session sell side liquidity, whatever. All right. So you marked out two zones. So what is the next zone? The next zone comes in the lunch, right? When is the lunch? The lunch goes all the way from 12 o'clock, right? This is 12 o'clock, all right? So here you have to use your brains, all right? Here you really have to use your brains, because when you look at this small high, obviously this high is better than that, and obviously this high is better than that, right? So I would have considered this high to be swept and not this, because it has already been taken out in Asia. So it doesn't make sense for me to target this high as a liquidity. All right. So we'll take this one. Okay. This is also in the AM session. What do you call the AM session internal liquidity? All right. This is the AM session internal liquidity point. Because in 15-minute time frame, you need to realize how important it is to use your own brain to measure out these things. Because obviously I wouldn't aim for this or this, because it's too far away, right? The range is not that great, right? Obviously the price won't move like 600-700 points just because it's a fucking Monday, right? So even if you have a news, it's really rare to see that high movement. So I would consider nearby liquidity pools to act upon myself, so that I take my entries. So in the turtle soup, in the coming videos, you will realize how I take my entries and all. So don't stress about that. I'll still explain you. This is the basic video. So anyway, AM session internal liquidity point, or you can call it as a the lunch rate. Still, it's fine. I personally call it AM session internal liquidity. I don't care. It's the internal. This is the external, and this is the external sell side. So what happened here? Here, due to this volume imbalance and what do you call that? Lack of words. I'm sorry, man. I have to think about it. This is actually a pretty good displacement move, especially after an NFP news. This candle is NFP, and look how violently it just dropped, right? If the original move was, bullish, it wouldn't have dropped like this much. And especially after a good market structure shift over here, when you find it, this for me is a market structure shift in a 15-minute. So you don't need to consider this. You can take this or something like that. But for me, it's good. The fractal is good because it's like super long. Don't stress yourself about fractals and all those. This particular video only targets you to realize how important the sessions are. Okay, so target the sessions. In the coming videos, you will be able to look at the videos as well. So don't overstress yourself. So where were you? Where were we? So yeah, AM session liquidity point has been swept. There is a good MSS, but in India it's fucking midnight. So I didn't take the trade this fucking day, right? We didn't have a setup this particular day. Although yes, there was the move delivered, but there was no market structure shift, so I just stayed out. What happened next day? Next day, what you do is the same thing. Just repeat the same shit that I've done now. Go to the previous day, start from 2 to 5. 2 to 5, what's the lowest low? This is the lowest low, right? And what is the highest high? Between 2 to 5. This is the highest high. So the high has been swept, so remove this shit. Okay? Next, 8:30. So 9 o'clock. This is the highest high in the AM session. Okay? And this is the, where's the low? The low has already been swept over here. So forget about this. This is the basic internal and external liquidity zones. I personally marked this as an external because, obviously I go with the 15-minute. So you can actually go with that as well. So anyway, according to my setup and my fucking rules, I go with the previous day trend, right? The previous day was bullish, it tried to go up, but it still fell down. So for me, the previous days were kind of bearish. Although the entire structure is bullish, I don't care. Especially on a Tuesday, I would anticipate sells on that day as soon as an internal liquidity has been swept. Now you might ask, Krishna, where's the internal liquidity? It hasn't been swept. This is the internal liquidity, right? So once this high has been swept and it reacted this vigorously down, what becomes the external and what becomes the internal, you must realize pretty quickly. It might be confusing a little, but hear me out. I would consider this as the external and this Asia high as internal. Not because the timings matched, but you have to realize, look at this high and look at this high. This high is more convincing to retailers to put their stops. This high is not as convincing as it is. This high is. Here there are stop loss, not here. As soon, again, there might be stop loss over here. I might still be wrong, but I just took the chance because this high, I considered it to be a better liquidity point than this. All right. So where were we? Yeah. So again, the internal liquidity has been swept, and especially you need to realize one simple, man, I'm like putting all the things in a single video. Don't worry, in the coming videos you'll be able to understand. So anyway, I wouldn't consider this anyway. So this is the external liquidity, right? Especially on a trending day, on a bearish trending day, I would want to see an external liquidity being swept before I see an internal, buy side liquidity being swept. So I would go with the trend, right? I wouldn't go against the trend. If the trend is bearish, I would go with the bearish flow. If the trend is bullish, I would go with the bullish flow. A simple fact. Again, in the coming videos, you will understand how I look at the trend, in what direction, in what way. You'll understand that. So don't stress yourself again. So again, this is the internal liquidity sweep. There's a good MSS, and I use the 2022 model for this entry, which is the 50% tap in, and boom. So as simple as that. You can target this high and you could target this low as well. I only targeted like 1:2 because I didn't want to target like 1:3/4. I don't believe in such shit. So yeah, this entire video has mostly would have helped you master the sessions. So yeah, if you have any doubts, you can still text me in Discord or text in the group. Group is better because all the other people can also answer your doubts if I'm not available. So that's the basic outview of the split inner circle trading May month session 1 close. All right, see you in the next video.